Hey guys, today we're going to check our frequency table practice. So first for number 1, make sure that you have drawn the table. If not, pause the video, do that now please. Now let's fill in what we can by adding or subtracting. So I'm going to start here with action. I have the total, so I'm going to subtract. 116 minus 66 gives us 50. Can't do anything with comedy, science fiction. With drama, I need the total, so I'm going to add. So I've got 61 plus 70 gives us 131. And then if you look at your overall total, I have the overall total, so I need to subtract. 500 minus 260 gives me 240. Now I'm going to go in and fill in everything else that I can. So right now I notice for female I have the total. So I'm just going to say 240. Some people add all the other stuff up and then subtract. I just subtract each one. Either way is fine. I do 240 minus 70 minus 58 minus 50, and that gives you 62 for that missing piece. I can do the same thing for the overall total. I have the big total, which is 500, and I'm going to subtract everything else. Minus 131, minus 121, minus 116 gives me 132 for science fiction. And then the last couple of missing pieces here, I have the total, so I'm going to subtract. 121 minus 62 is 59. And then I'm going to do the same thing for science fiction. I have the total, so I subtract. 132 minus 58 is 74. All right, so now let's start dealing with our percentage or relative frequency stuff. So look at number 2. We want to find the relative frequency of people whose favorite movie genre is action. So if it just says of people, my whole amount is going to be the overall total, which is 500. And then out of that 500, how many prefer action? Well, if I look, my total for action is 116. So my fraction is 116 over 500. So we do top divided by bottom times 100. And that gives you, let me write that out, top divided by bottom times 100 gives you about 23%. So number 1 is going to be E. I'm going to do a different color for 3. Look at number 3. It says, what's the relative frequency of female students? So it didn't list a whole amount, so I'm going to use or assume that it's talking about the 500. So out of 500, how many of the students are female? So my total female is 240. So you should have done 240 over 500. So to find my percent or relative frequency, I'm going to do top divided by bottom times 100. So 240 divided by 500 times 100 will give me exactly 48%. And that is choice B. So number 3, you should have gotten B. Now let's take a look at 4. It says, what percentage of male students like science fiction movies? So my overall that they're looking for is male. That's my whole. So the total number of males is 260. Out of those 260 males, how many like science fiction? Well, 74. So that's my part out of whole. And then to change that to a percent, you do 74 divided by 260 times 100. So let's type that in. 74 divided by 260 times 100 gives me about 28%. So when I look, 28% is choice F. Number 5, what percentage of students like drama movies? So since it didn't give me a specific group as my whole, I'm going to use my 500. What percentage of students? That means of all the students. And out of that 500, how many like drama? Well, here's my drama. The total for drama is 131. So 131 out of 500 people like drama movies. But let's change it to a percent. Top, divided by the bottom, times 100. So I'm going to type that in. I'm going to do 131 divided by 500 times 100, which is about 26%. And when I look, that's choice D. So number 5 is choice D. So we can't use elimination to help with 6 because we have 3 more choices left. So let's do number 6. Okay, it says what percentage of people who like comedy movies is female? So it only wants us to look at the people who like comedy movies. So that's going to be our whole. Let's do green. So how many people like comedy movies? 121. Out of that 121, how many are female? 62. So I've got my fraction, 62 out of 121, but I need to change that to a decimal, so I'm going to do top divided by bottom times 100. You'll do that every time to change to a fraction to a decimal. So 62 divided by 121 times 100 is about 51%. So for that, you should have gotten choice C.